Hey, my name's Ethan. I'm 26, and right now my life feels like it's been chewed up and spit out onto the cold streets of Tacoma, Washington. I used to be a construction worker, the kind who shows up at dawn with a thermos of black coffee and a toolbox that's seen better days. But a few months back, everything went sideways. A slip on a wet scaffold, a cracked rib that kept me sidelined, and suddenly the foreman was handing me a pink slip with that fake, sympathetic look. Economy's tight, kid. We'll call if things pick up. Yeah, right? Since then, it's been odd jobs here and there. Hauling junk for cash, fixing fences for neighbors who pity me more than they pay me. I crash in a rundown studio apartment on the edge of town, the kind where the walls are thin enough to hear your neighbor's regrets. No family to fall back on. My folks passed when I was a teen, and I've been scraping by ever since. Girlfriend? She bailed when the check stopped coming. I can't do this anymore, Ethan. You're just stuck. Her words echo in my head like a bad hangover. Last night was the breaking point. I'd been wandering the streets after another dead-end interview, the rain coming down in that relentless Pacific Northwest drizzle that soaks right through to your bones. I didn't even have an umbrella, just my old jacket zipped up to my chin and a crumpled letter in my pocket, the final notice from the bank saying my account was overdrawn. Again. I remember sitting on the curb staring at the puddles reflecting the streetlights, feeling like the whole world had moved on without me. Tears mixed with the rain on my face, and I didn't care who saw. What's the point? I muttered to myself. No job, no home worth keeping, no one who gives a damn. I must have sat there for hours, numb and shivering until everything blurred into darkness. I jolt awake, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. The room swims into focus, soft lamplight, unfamiliar sheets tangled around my legs, the faint hum of a clock ticking somewhere. This isn't my bed. My apartment doesn't have this clean, lived-in smell, like fresh laundry and faint herbs. Panic surges through me as I sit up too fast, my head throbbing. My jacket's draped over a chair, still damp, and my boots are by the door, mud-caked and out of place. Where the hell am I? Did I black out? Get mugged? The last thing I remember is the rain, the curb, that crushing weight in my chest. Before I can scramble out of bed, a figure appears in the doorway, silhouetted by the warm glow from what looks like a kitchen. She's a woman, maybe in her late 30s or early 40s, hard to tell in the dim light. Her skin is fair, her dark hair damp and loose over her shoulders, like she's just stepped out of the shower. She's wrapped in a cream-colored robe, holding a steaming mug in one hand. Her eyes meet mine, calm and steady, no trace of alarm or judgment. It's like she's been expecting me to wake up. You cried in your sleep, she says softly, her voice even and matter-of-fact, not pitying. But you're safe here. I freeze, my mouth dry. Safe? From what? Who is she? My mind races, piecing together fragments, the rain, the curb, a vague memory of someone approaching, a gentle voice asking if I was okay. Did she pick me up? Bring me here? Heat rushes to my face, a mix of embarrassment and confusion. I'm not the type to break down like that, not in public. But last night was a low I didn't think I could hit. Who are you? I stammer, my voice hoarse. I glance around again. The room is simple, cozy even. A wooden dresser with a few framed photos I can't make out, bookshelves lined with worn paperbacks, a couple of potted plants catching the faint moonlight from the window. It's nothing fancy, but it's worlds away from my dingy place. Outside, the rain still patters against the glass, a steady rhythm that matches my erratic heartbeat. She doesn't move closer right away, just sets the mug down on a small table beside the bed. I'm Sophia, she says, pulling up a chair and sitting at a respectful distance. Her eyes are kind, but there's a quiet strength in them, like she's seen her share of storms. Last night, I was walking home from closing up my shop when I saw you on the curb. You were soaked through, no shoes, clutching some paper like it was the only thing keeping you grounded. Your eyes? They looked like you'd been crying for hours. I couldn't just leave you there. The streets aren't safe at night, especially in this weather. I rub my temples, trying to process. The paper? She means the bank notice. I must have looked like a total wreck. I don't remember much, I admit, my voice cracking. Just the rain. And feeling like I had nowhere to go. The words spill out before I can stop them, raw and unfiltered. Why am I telling her this? She's a stranger. But something about her presence feels steady, like an anchor in the chaos. She nods, not pushing for more. You didn't say much at first, just that you were tired, and that you weren't sure if you had a reason to go back anywhere. She pauses, her gaze softening. I didn't pry. I just offered you a dry place to crash, no strings. Tired. Yeah, that sums it up. Tired of fighting for scraps, tired of doors slamming in my face, tired of waking up alone in a world that doesn't seem to have a spot for me anymore. I glance at the mug. It's tea, steaming gently, the scent herbal and calming. My hands tremble as I pick it up, the warmth seeping into my chilled fingers. I must have seemed pathetic, I mutter, avoiding her eyes. Sophia shakes her head. Not pathetic. Human. She leans back slightly, giving me space. We've all had nights like that. If you want to leave now, I won't stop you, but if you need a minute or a few hours, you're welcome to stay, no questions asked. I take a sip of the tea, the heat spreading through me like a small mercy. For the first time in what feels like forever, the knot in my chest loosens just a fraction. She's not judging, not hovering like some do-gooder. She's just there. Why? I ask finally, my voice barely above a whisper. Why help a stranger like me? She looks at the window where the rain streaks the glass. Because once upon a time, someone did the same for me. And because leaving you out there felt wrong. She turns back, her expression open. Drink up. In the morning, if you're up for it, my kitchen cabinet's got a wonky hinge that's been driving me crazy. I could use a hand, if you're the fixing type. I manage a weak nod, the offer hanging in the air like a lifeline I didn't expect. The room falls quiet save for the rain and the clock. One woman's quiet act of kindness pulling a broken guy like me from the edge. And in that moment, as the warmth of the tea settles in, I wonder if this strange night might be the start of something, anything better than the void I've been drowning in. A woman who's locked her heart away, a guy who thought he wasn't worth saving, and one rainstorm that somehow tied them together in this tiny kitchen at 1 a.m. The morning light filters in slow and hazy, like the world outside isn't quite ready to wake up yet. I stir under the unfamiliar sheets, my body aching from the cold that seeped in last night. For a second, I forget where I am, until the scent hits me. Fresh bread toasting, warm and inviting, pulling me back to reality. Sophia's place. The stranger who dragged me out of the rain. I sit up, rubbing my eyes, and glance at the clock. Just past 7 a.m. The rain has stopped, but the air still feels heavy with it. I swing my legs over the edge of the bed, debating whether to slip out quietly. It's my default mode, disappear before anyone regrets helping. No notes, no thanks, just gone. But that smell from the kitchen, it's pulling me in a different direction. I pull on my damp jacket, wincing at the chill, and pad toward the light. Sophia's there, her back to me, wearing a loose gray sweater that hangs off one shoulder, her hair tied up in a messy bun. She's sliding slices of bread into a toaster, the counter dotted with butter and jam. The kitchen is small but lived in. Flour-dusted aprons hanging on hooks, a few mismatched mugs on a shelf, the faint hum of a fridge that's seen better days. She turns when she hears my footsteps, her expression neutral, like this is just another morning. Sleep okay? She asks, popping the toaster lever down. I nod, hovering in the doorway. Better than I expected. No nightmares about falling beams this time. She pauses mid-motion, glancing over. Beams? Construction? Yeah. I step in, leaning against the counter. My hands fidget with the edge of my sleeve. Used to climb scaffolds for a living until I didn't. The words come out easier than I thought, maybe because she doesn't push. She just pours coffee, black, no sugar, and slides it my way. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, she says, turning back to the toaster. But I do. For some reason, sitting here in this quiet kitchen, it feels like the dam's cracking. I want to. If I don't say it out loud, it'll just keep eating at me. I take a sip of the coffee, bitter and hot, grounding me. Started young, right out of high school. No college for me, couldn't afford it. Worked my way up, dreaming of starting my own crew someday. Fix up old houses for folks who can't do it themselves, you know? Seniors, single parents. Make things solid again. She nods, buttering the toast as it pops up. No interruptions, just listening. Then the accident. Slipped on a rainy day, cracked a rib. Nothing fatal, but enough to bench me. Boss said the crew couldn't wait, economy stuff. And my girl? She stuck around for a bit, but when the money dried up, so did she. You're stuck, Ethan, she said. I need someone going places. I stare into the mug, the steam blurring my vision. That paper last night? Final bank notice. Overdrawn. Again. Felt like the whole world saying I'm not worth the trouble. The kitchen falls quiet, save for the clink of plates as she sets them down. 2 slices of toast for each of us, simple but thoughtful. She sits across from me, her eyes meeting mine without pity, just understanding. I finish, feeling lighter, like I've dropped a weight I didn't know I was carrying. Sorry, I didn't mean to unload all that. She shakes her head. Don't apologize. Sounds like you've been carrying it alone for too long. She takes a bite of her toast, chewing thoughtfully before speaking. I had a family once, a daughter. She was everything, loud, messy, full of life. 7 years ago, she was gone. Car accident, just like that. Her voice stays steady, but there's a depth to it, like an old scar. The house felt empty after. Lights on, but no sound, no laughter. I've kept things running since, the bakery, the routine, but it's like patching holes in a sinking ship. I look up, really seeing her now. The faint lines around her eyes, the quiet strength in her posture. I'm sorry, that sounds unbearable. It was. Still is some days. She pushes the jam toward me. But you learn to sit with it. Last night when you cried, it reminded me that pain doesn't need explanations. Sometimes it just needs company. We eat in comfortable silence after that. The toast warm and crisp, the coffee chasing away the last of the fog in my head. When we're done, I stand, ready to thank her and bolt. I should get out of your hair. She nods but points to the cabinet door hanging slightly askew, creaking when she touches it. If you've got a minute, this thing's been squeaking for months, drives me nuts. I hesitate, then grab my toolkit from the chair, must have brought it in last night. It's second nature, check the hinges, tighten the screws, a quick adjustment. In minutes, it's solid, no more noise. I close it with a satisfying click, and for the first time in weeks, I feel a spark of pride. There, good as new. She hands me a towel to wipe my hands. Thanks. The bakery out back could use more of that. Doors warped, stoves finicky, shelves are wobbling. Not today, but if you're looking for work, it's not charity, I pay fair. I meet her eyes, searching for the catch. I'm not reliable right now. Don't want to let you down. I don't need perfect, just honest. She shrugs. Show up on time, do what you can, that's all. Something in her tone clicks. No pressure, no expectations, just a chance. I nod slowly. Okay, I'll think about it. As I head to the door, the sun breaking through the clouds outside, I turn back. Thanks for not asking who I was last night. She smiles faintly, because sometimes knowing where someone is matters more than who they are. The door closes behind me, the fresh air hitting my face. The rain's gone, and for once, I don't feel left behind. The next morning hits me early, the kind of dawn where the light creeps in gray and reluctant through my apartment window. I wake up in my own bed this time, the sheets twisted from a restless night. Sophia's words echo in my head. I don't need perfect, just honest. It's the first thing I think about as I splash water on my face, staring at my reflection, bags under my eyes, stubble I haven't bothered with. My place feels smaller than ever, the silence mocking me. No job waiting, no one expecting me. But her offer? It's there, hanging like a loose thread I could pull or ignore. I pace the room, toolkit in hand, debating. Run again? Or show up? My stomach knots, but something pulls me toward her bakery. It's not far. A 10-minute walk through the damp streets of Tacoma, past fog-shrouded houses and the faint smell of pine from the nearby woods. By the time I reach her door, my heart's pounding. What if she changed her mind? What if this is just pity wrapped in kindness? The bell above the door jingles as I step in. The front is quiet. A few early customers browsing the display case of fresh loaves and pastries. Sophia is behind the counter, apron dusted with flour, her hair pulled back. She looks up, no surprise in her eyes, just a nod like she knew I'd come. You're on time, she says simply, wiping her hands on a towel. Yeah, figured I'd take you up on that. My voice comes out steadier than I feel. She leads me to the back room, a cluttered space with sacks of flour stacked against the wall, an old stove humming, and shelves groaning under the weight of baking trays. The door to the storage area hangs crooked, the gas line looks finicky, and the wooden counters are scarred from years of use. Start wherever makes sense, she says. Tools are in the drawer. I'll be up front if you need anything. No hovering, no instructions. Just trust. I roll up my sleeves and get to work. First, the warped door. I pry it off its hinges, sand down the edges where moisture has swelled the wood, and realign it with new screws. The rhythm pulls me in. The scrape of sandpaper, the bite of the drill. It's been too long since I felt useful, since my hands did something that lasted. By noon, the door swings smooth and silent. Sophia brings a glass of water around midday, setting it down without a word. I wipe sweat from my brow. Thanks. This place has good bones, just needs some care. She leans against the frame, watching for a moment. Like a lot of things. Then she's gone again, back to her customers. The days blur into a quiet routine after that. I show up each morning, toolkit in tow, tackling one fix at a time. Replace the finicky stove knob that kept flickering out. Turns out it was a loose wire. Reinforce the sagging shelves with brackets I scavenged from a hardware store run. Paint the back wall a fresh coat of white covering years of scuffs and stains. It's slow work, methodical, but each completed task chips away at the fog in my head. No big conversations at first, just nods, quick thanks, the occasional shared coffee break. Evenings are when things shift. The bakery closes at 6, the last customers trickling out with bags of bread. Sophia locks up and I'd linger sometimes wiping down my tools while she preps dough for the next day. One night, as the sun dips low and casts long shadows through the windows, I find myself talking. Back on the sites, I'd fix up these old kitchens for widows mostly. One lady, Mrs. Harlan, her cabinets were falling apart. I rebuilt them sturdy and she baked me cookies every visit, said it made her feel like home again. Sophia kneads the dough, her hands strong and precise. She doesn't interrupt, just listens, the room filling with the soft thump of flour on wood. Another evening, rain patters lightly on the roof, a gentle reminder of that first night. We're sitting on stools in the back, the air thick with the scent of rising yeast. Sophia wipes her hands and leans back. I used to have a warm house like that. I look up from polishing a hinge. Not because it was big, she continues, her voice steady but laced with something deeper, but because it was always full of laughter. My daughter. She made it that way. She pauses, staring at the dough like it's a memory. 7 years ago, she was gone. Accident. After that, I kept the lights on, but the sound, it vanished. I set down the tool, my chest tightening. I'm sorry, I can't imagine. It changes you. She takes a breath, steadying herself. I've fixed things since the bakery, the routines, but I never thought about building new. This place, it's functional, but it's not a home. She glances around, then at me. Now, maybe I want to start over, with someone who isn't afraid of the broken pieces. The words hang there, raw and unguarded. I don't respond right away, my mind flashing to my own wreckage. The lost job, the empty apartment, the nights I thought about giving up. I'm not great at beginnings, I say quietly. But I know how to stay when things fall apart. She nods, no more words needed. Outside, the rain whispers on. But in that small bakery back room, for the first time in ages, we both sense it. Rebuilding might not be impossible after all. Rumors have a way of creeping in like fog off the Puget Sound. Slow at first, then thick enough to choke you. In a small town like Tacoma, nothing stays private for long. Park your truck in the same spot 3 days running and folks start asking questions. So it didn't surprise me when the whispers started about me showing up at Sophia's bakery every day. That young guy's fixing more than shelves, someone muttered at the hardware store. Sophia's got herself a project, or is it the other way around? Sweetened with smiles but sharp underneath, like broken glass in honey. It hit me one afternoon, hard. I just finished reinforcing the back door frame, my shirt stuck to my back with sweat. when I headed to the corner market for a soda. Two old-timers at the counter didn't even lower their voices. Heard she's feeding the stray now. Kid looks like he's fresh off the streets. Laughter followed, low and knowing. My face burned. I paid and left without a word, the can warm in my hand by the time I got back to the bakery. I slammed my toolkit down on the workbench louder than I meant to, the clang echoing through the empty space. I can't do this anymore, I said when Sophia came in from the front, her apron still dusted with flour. The town's talking about you, about us or whatever this is. They think you're, I don't know, saving some loser. I don't want you dragged down because of me. She stopped in the doorway, crossing her arms. No flinch, no denial. If you're running because of a few loose tongues, then you're not ready to stand still. Her words landed like a punch. I gripped the edge of the counter, knuckles white. It's not running, it's protecting you. They look at you like you're desperate, like I'm some charity case crashing your life. I hear it everywhere, the market, the gas station. Poor Sophia, picking up strays. It makes me sick. She stepped closer, her eyes locking on mine. Not soft this time, but forged like steel. I'm not saving you, Ethan. I'm believing in you. And if you're scared of what people say, you'll never build a damn thing worth keeping. The air hung heavy between us, my breath ragged. I wanted to argue, to storm out and prove I could disappear without a trace. But her gaze held me there, challenging, unwavering. She didn't beg or console, she just laid it out plain. And damn if it didn't make me see myself. The guy who'd always bolted at the first sign of judgment, the first failure. That night, I didn't leave. I lay awake in my apartment staring at the ceiling cracks, turning her words over like puzzle pieces. Running wouldn't fix anything, it never had. The next morning I showed up early before the bakery even opened. Sophia handed me coffee without a word about yesterday, like we'd already moved past it. But I had an idea brewing, something to prove. To her, to the town, to myself, that I wasn't just patching holes. In the corner of the front porch where old flour sacks used to pile up, I cleared space and set up a small workbench. Scavenged wood scraps from the back, a few basic tools, saw, sandpaper, nails, and a handwritten sign on cardboard. Wind and Wood, where kids learn to make small things with big hands. It started slow. A curious girl from down the block wandered in after school, asking if she could make a pencil holder from a block of pine. I showed her how to measure, sand the edges smooth, nail it together without splitting the grain. Her eyes lit up when it stood sturdy on the table. It's mine. Really? She asked, hugging it like a treasure. Word spread. Kids from the neighborhood, some shy, some bold, trickling in after classes. A boy brought a splintered board from his backyard, wanting to turn it into a nameplate for his dog's kennel. I guided his hands on the hammer, teaching patience, showing how one wrong swing could ruin the whole thing. They didn't come for toys or games, they came to touch something real, to see their efforts turn into something solid. And me? I listened to their stories of school bullies, absent parents, dreams of building tree houses or fixing bikes. It wasn't therapy, just space. Quiet, hands-on, where mistakes were part of the process. Hit it too hard? Sand it down and try again, I'd say. The porch filled with the scrape of tools, laughter over crooked nails, the satisfaction of a finished piece. Sophia watched from the window at first, not interfering. But one evening, as the last kid packed up and headed home with a wobbly birdhouse, she came out with 2 mugs of tea. This is turning into something, she said, handing me one. Yeah, feels good. Like I'm not just fixing your stuff anymore. I sipped, the steam warming my face. But the talk? It's still there. Doesn't it bother you? She shrugged. Let it. I've lost more than words can take. Then she pulled an envelope from her apron pocket, handing it over. Official looking, from the town hall. I opened it, scanning the lines, permit approved for a non-profit community workshop. Wind and Wood, registered under my name. Ethan Holloway, legal representative. My throat tightened. You did this? Behind the scenes? Paperwork's not my favorite, but I know people at the office. She met my eyes. You needed a name on it. Something yours. I stared at the document, the ink blurring slightly. You know I've never had anything in my name before, right? Not a business, not even a lease half the time. She placed a hand on my arm, light but sure. Now you do. For the first time in years, I felt rooted. Not running, not hiding. The rumors? They faded to background noise. And in that moment, under the porch light with tea cooling in our hands, I realized I wasn't just building for the kids. I was building for me. A year slips by since that rainy night. The one where I woke up in a stranger's apartment, my heart still raw from tears I couldn't hold back. Now, Sophia's hearth isn't just a spot for morning loaves and afternoon cookies. It's grown into something more. A community hub with the mini woodshop out back buzzing after school, the reading nook by the window lined with donated books, kids sprawled out with half-eaten treats, their fingers sticky from frosting and sawdust. The air always smells like yeast and pine shavings, a mix that's become as familiar as my own breath. I'm not that guy from the curb anymore, the one who thought he was invisible, worthless. These days, I'm the one sketching plans for new benches, teaching a fidgety 10-year-old how to drive a nail straight, or hauling in reclaimed lumber from the salvage yard. Wind and Wood has its own rhythm now, official, with that permit framed on the wall like a badge I never thought I'd earn. Parents drop by with thanks, kids wave from bikes, and even the town gossips have quieted, replaced by nods of respect. That Ethan's got a good thing going, I overhear at the market. It feels earned, not given. Mornings start early, the town still yawning under a blanket of mist. Sophia flips on the ovens, the hum filling the quiet as she mixes dough with those steady hands I've come to know. I head to the shop, reviewing the day's projects, maybe a new toolbox for kid's birthday or reinforcing the porch rails for winter. We don't make a show of it, her and me. No hand-holding down Main Street, no whispered secrets in public. We're not that couple, the kind that needs labels or rings to prove anything. But everyone sees the little things, even if they don't say it. Like how I always set a mug of ginger tea on the counter for her, steam curling up with a scribbled note. New flour delivery today. Don't forget to taste the first batch. She never replies in words, just a light touch on my shoulder as she passes, leaving a faint streak of flour on my shirt like a private mark. Or evenings when the last customer leaves and we clean up side by side, her wiping counters, me sweeping shavings. No rush, no plans, just being there. The silence comfortable, broken by her quiet laugh at some kid's mishap story. One crisp fall morning, as the maple out front sheds its first leaf, I'm in the shop sanding the final slat for a new bookshelf. The air's cool, carrying that earthy scent of turning seasons. I look up and catch her watching through the fogged window, her expression soft, thoughtful. I don't turn away. You know, I say without stopping the sandpaper's rhythm, there are houses built from bricks and mortar. But the one I'm living in now, it's made from your glances and those morning teas. She doesn't answer right away. Instead, she steps out, the door creaking softly behind her. In her hands, a plate with a fresh ginger cookie still warm. She sets it beside my tools, no note this time, just the gesture. I never thought I'd have this, she says quietly, leaning against the workbench. A place that feels like more than walls. I set down the sandpaper, dusting my hands. Me neither, but here we are. The words hang simple between us, no grand declarations. We've built this without fanfare. Her trusting me with the bakery's bones, me showing up day after day, both of us piecing together what was shattered. No weddings, no promises etched in stone, just choosing to stay one morning at a time. As the sun climbs higher, painting the shop in gold, she brushes a stray hair from her face and smiles. That faint, real one that always catches me off guard. We don't say more. She heads back inside and I pick up the cookie, the warmth spreading through my fingers. It's enough, more than enough. There are houses built from bricks. There are houses built from trust, from two people who once thought they weren't worth holding on to. And sometimes, the warmest thing in life is just a cup of tea, a shoulder brush, and a fresh-baked cookie.